Hey folks, welcome back to Integrative Psychonautics. I hope you've been doing well out there. So I've got some amazing news that I'm so excited to share with you guys today. I want to announce to you that the guided mystical experience course that I've been working on is finally finished and will be launching soon. So in this video, what we're going to be talking about here is I'm going to share some of my thoughts about this course and some of my thoughts about mystical experiences. I don't want to make the video too long though, so it's just going to be a couple quick kind of thoughts about this, and then I'm going to share with you a clip from the course where I'm kind of explaining in more detail what a mystical experience is and why it might be relevant to your personal growth path, your personal healing path, and your spiritual growth path, quite frankly. So if that interests you, if you're interested in the use of psychedelics to navigate mystical experiences, if this is something you're already experimenting with or intending on doing for yourself and you want safety, harm reduction, support, a clear framework around this, then please join me for this video. All right, so it's pretty much exactly like I said in the intro here, and I am so excited to talk about this with you guys. First of all, let me just be transparent here. Mystical experiences, in my opinion, are perhaps the central feature, the central point of psychedelics. They are the thing that if you are taking psychedelics and you increase in dose, this is the experience that is most likely to unfold or occur for you. So I think that they are very much at the heart of people using psychedelics, whether that is in a recreational use or a spiritual development use, psychological healing use, therapeutic use. It's also an incredibly integral part of my own personal life story, part of my personal history, something I have a lot of passion about, something I could talk at great length about. So because of that, I do want to keep this video kind of shorter and kind of make it the focus much more about the clip I'm about to share here with you guys, but I just want to kind of set it up with some thoughts about this course. So the first thing I'll share with you guys about this is something that I have been wanting to make for about 20 years. Okay, so this is a long time coming for me, and I'm really proud of this course, not only because of the realization of that vision and that desire, but I feel like the content is really solid. In further videos here, I'll be explaining to you more about the course structure, what I've included in it, how I've organized it, what's involved in it, so you'll get to know more exactly what it is in case you're interested in joining the course. But for now, I just kind of want to give a little bit about my personal relationship to this process of creating it. So the major book that I've kind of modeled the structure of this mystical experience off of is a book that is 60 years old as of last year, 61 years in 2024. So this is an old piece of psychedelic therapy information that I've really referenced and was integral to my healing process. Interestingly enough, my first mystical experience, my encounter with that book was 31 years ago. So I had my first mystical experience 30 years after the book was published. And then that was a transformative moment in my life that changed everything, quite frankly. And I'm happy to be talking in future videos here, more videos around this course about the relevance of, the implications of mystical experiences in my own life, my own personal growth path and spiritual path, and, try to give you a better sense of perhaps where this kind of use of psychedelics or spiritual practices, because there are other ways to get to mystical experiences, how does this fit into the picture, of our personal healing, our personal growth, and the bigger picture of our personal development, let's say. So I have more to say about that, but getting back on track here, I first had this experience 30 years ago, essentially 31 years ago, and it was 30 years from the year that the book was published, which is super interesting to me. And now 30 years after that, I finally realized my own iteration of this kind of school of knowledge. In my personal opinion, the map that I've included in this course is, I think, unparalleled in my experience based on all the other maps of kind of transcendent knowledge that I've encountered in the psychedelic community. So based on, guided sessions I've had and shamanic work and other things that I've experienced, in my mind, in my heart, this is the clearest, most elegant, most beautiful map. And So the structure that we're following here is profound and powerful and very deep if you have the experience that it's trying to indicate and show to you. So yeah, this is a long time coming, and I'm super excited to share about it with you guys. Let me see, what else do I want to say about it? The course is about 7.5 hours of content. It's all video content. There will be an audio version of the guided session so that if you don't want to do a video version of it, totally understandable, you'll have that as an option to download. The course includes a bunch of, and I'll be going over this in other videos, but just to give you a sense of it, the course includes a bunch of preparatory practices that you can do at length to train your nervous system to be able to open up to a mystical experience. So this increases the safety, this increases the familiarity as best that we can. In a certain sense, it's like being an astronaut. It's like training to go in outer space or be in a zero gravity environment. Like, we can create similar parallel experiences, but there's really nothing like the real thing of being out there, right? So, but we've got a bunch of prep there, which is super valuable, some life-changing techniques just in the prep section. There's a bunch of information and context on like set and setting and dealing with logistics, like how do you set up a session so that you feel as safe as possible? How do you set up the space for yourself so that it is safe as possible? How do you deal with things like nausea if you're going to take psilocybin, which can be an issue that kind of can get in the way of having a transcendent mystical experience? Then there's a whole section on aftercare. So we've got a section on how to ground yourself out afterwards, how to deal with these big kind of conceptual experiences that we've had that are bigger than our current understanding of life and reality. In other words, kind of cognitive mental work, and a whole section on integration and integration mindsets and integration techniques, et cetera, et cetera. There's so much content in here, and I really feel like it's all solid, dense, valuable information. Like, pardon the kind of cheesy catchphrase, but it's kind of all killer, no filler. In this case, it's all solid information through and through. So that's 7.5 hours of material there, but really it's designed for you to work over the course of a month or a few months and really get the feel for these practices, and then, do the session and then integrate that and turn that into lasting change in yourself and lasting growth. So that's kind of what's on the plate here. Like I said, I'll be talking more about it in other videos, but enough of me yammering on for now, as I love to do. I want to share with you this little clip from the kind of welcome, the introductory section of the course, where I'm explaining a bit about mystical experiences, their relevance, their importance, what they are specifically, so you have a clear idea of what a mystical experience is, kind of what you're signing up for if you're going to do this course. Let me see. Yeah, I will say, just as a quick comment on my presentation style on the course here, I did my best. I'm a human being. I'm still learning how to present well. So I'm reading and I'm kind of trying to remember my presentation slides in order, and it's a little clunky. It's not as fluid and smooth as it absolutely could be, but I feel good about it, and hopefully it's plenty watchable for you. Okay, without much further ado, here's the clip from the introduction section of the course about mystical experiences. I hope you find some value in it. I hope you find it interesting. Let me know in the comments down below. Much love to you all. Take care. Okay, let's talk a bit about mystical experiences. So just to put it out there as bluntly and as directly as I can, the intent of this course is to have a mystical experience as safely and comfortably as possible. So this is what we're up to in this course. Let's not beat around the bush here. This course is designed to support you in pursuing having a mystical experience, okay? So what is a mystical experience anyways? A mystical experience is a state that we access where we may feel a deep and profound sense of oneness with all of life. The boundaries of our sense of self dissolve, and we have a kind of an oceanic or kind of an expansive experience of life as a single vast thing of which we are a part. A profound sense of wholeness, a profound sense of love and compassion, a profound sense of connection to everything, a sense of divinity imbued in everything. profound joy, profound peace, profound well-being, and profound gratitude. These are all common ways of describing a mystical experience. Other descriptions that you might be familiar with that are pretty common would be something like I am another yourself, we are one, emptiness or wholeness, the Tao, samadhi, liberation, a God experience, bliss, a spiritual awakening. All of these are types of descriptors of a mystical experience. So these experiences in general, it can range in how it presents or how it's experienced, but it may include something like a white light experience. That's pretty common, pretty normal. An out-of-body experience, again, also very common, very normal. Kundalini type experiences where your life force kind of awakens through your body, again, very normal. Archetypal entity and character encounters and experiences like you hear often with DMT. Still, this can also happen in a mystical experience. Whole body bliss states that can feel like an orgasm. Again, very common that people get kind of, waves of bliss, waves of chills, waves of ecstatic energy. Strange sounds like rumbling or high pitches in your ears, eyes fluttering. All of this would be totally, totally normal. Right? So please expect that any of these are possible, that all of these would be totally normal for the kind of state we are aiming to access here. So we're not messing around. These are powerful states. Please understand that the mystical experience is a rare, precious, and fleeting state. It is temporary, and you will come down from it back to your normal mode of consciousness. So one of the most common fears that people have as they're feeling themselves begin to open up to this kind of experience, and their sense of identity is dissolving, and their sense of boundaries are dissolving, and they're feeling themselves merge in everything. The fear is I'm going to die, or I'm going to be stuck this way. And I want you to really understand this is a rare, precious experience that you will come down from. You will return back from. So if it's happening, you want to capitalize on it. You want to go with it. Okay. Let's talk about some of the science of mystical experiences, because I think this is really helpful just to kind of put some context into how this is useful, why this is useful. So some of the findings on the impacts of mystical experience on a person's life. One study showed that in studies of patients with depression and anxiety secondary to life-threatening cancer, and patients with treatment-resistant depression, so these are people either end of life or deeply depressed, approximately 80% of participants had sustained antidepressant and anxiolytic, that means anti-anxiety, effects for up to 6 months afterwards, right? So this is one of those famous psychedelic science findings that we've heard a lot about from Roland Griffiths and Robin Carhart Harris, and I believe this was done by Johns Hopkins, or at least in collaboration with. And they did these studies and found that for the people who had mystical experiences, 80% had less or no anxiety or depression up to 6 months after the experience. Let me see another example here. Research into the effects of psychedelics, this is a quote from another study here. Research into the effects of psychedelic drugs on mental health conditions has also been conducted on naturalistic populations via online surveys, finding that mechanisms of the self-reported improvements in mental health symptoms included the intensity of the mystical type experience. So the more profound the mystical experience, the more profound the effects afterwards were, right? Taken together, these findings provide evidence that psychedelic use may lead to reductions in psychological distress and suicidality, improvements in depression and anxiety, reductions in alcohol consumption and misuse, reductions in misuse of cannabis, opioids, stimulants, and improvements in symptoms related to racial trauma. And I would imagine other types of trauma like complex trauma, et cetera, et cetera. The group that had the highest insightful mystical experiences and low challenging experiences showed the most benefit in terms of remission of anxiety and depression symptoms and other longer lasting benefits to their life, right? So in general, what we're looking at here, these are just a few of the examples of the emerging information we're finding about the impact of psychedelic induced mystical experiences on mental health outcomes. In general, if we could really broadly kind of make a blanket statement, we could probably say that generally speaking, the more profound the mystical experience and the more clearly a person has a mystical experience, the bigger the impact, positive impact on their mental health for a long period of time. And these are acute, extreme, circumstances that they're measuring. So if you're not in one of these extreme circumstances, the benefits may even last longer. Some other potential benefits may include increased personal power, intellectual understanding, sharpened insight into self and culture, improvement of life situation, accelerated learning, professional growth, duty, help of others, providing care, rehabilitation, rebirth for fellow men, for fun, sensuous enjoyment, aesthetic pleasure, interpersonal closeness or pure experience, or for transcendence, liberation from ego and space, time limits, attainment of mystical union. So these are all different interpretations according to classical Hindu texts of ways that mystical experience tends to kind of benefit people. So just to reiterate that, it increases in personal power, increases in clarity of understanding, sharpened insight into yourself and those around you, strengthening your ability to show up for others, provide care, help other people as a form of duty, as a form of being a force for good in the world. It increases aesthetic pleasure, interpersonal closeness, and is a profound experience in its own right, and for transcendence and spiritual awakening. So this is an excerpt from the Psychedelic Experience, which is the book that we are kind of basing the structure of this experience off of. So this is my major reference that I use to kind of design the guided journey that we'll be doing here. So in case it's not clear yet, a mystical experience is at the core a spiritual experience, right? So this is fundamentally a spiritual experience that we're up to here. So let's please be clear about that. So some common concerns that come up around this stuff usually, right? What if you don't have a mystical experience, right? This is a common one that people have. It's like, I took the medicine, I had a really powerful, medicine experience, but I didn't have the transcendence that was kind of described in the guidance. Even if you don't have a mystical experience outright, there's a lot of great guidance and teaching in the instructions that I've created for you on how to navigate psychedelic experiences that will help you in future journeys. So kind of what I'm saying here is that there's a lot of good learning. There's a lot of deep core experiential learning that you'll get out of having this experience, even if you don't have a full-blown mystical experience. It's going to be helpful either way. Do I only have one shot at this? This is another question I get a lot. No, not at all. It's very possible to keep retrying until you finally have a mystical experience. Sometimes people need to kind of, find their comfort with this dosage range and this type of experience, that kind of more internal, closed eyes, following a guided thing. And maybe you need to try it a couple times before you can really open up to it and have, the full experience. Many people don't have that, again, till the second or the third time. So if that's you, don't feel bad about it. What I would say, though, is that if you didn't have a mystical experience and you're kind of at the middle of your journey still, I wouldn't try to do this twice within one psychedelic journey. So if you try and you don't have the full mystical experience, let it be for the remainder of the journey, come back to it another day. Okay, what's the best mindset to approach this experience with, right? So in general, a mindset of openness, of trust, and willingness to learn and experience. We'll be covering more about this in the set part of this preparation section, which is actually more under, some of that's under the logistics, and then some of that's also kind of developed in the practices section. So you'll get more of an understanding of what the right mindset, what the right attitude is further on in the course. So that covers it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.